Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Hey, doing fine today, guys, and good morning.
Jerry, what was your take on the offensive performance and game plan against the Saints?
Well, I think I'll sum it up. I think Saints have an outstanding defense. We'd like to have made more than one touchdown. We did make a touchdown. They didn't make any against our defense, as we all know. Be almost right. But they did a real good job of anytime we have three guys, the guy over the guard, guy over the center, guy over the guard, anytime they're in there, and in this case they're good ones, then that's a bigger challenge for us running the ball, and we can do that better, and we'll do it better.
Jerry, do you think you guys made a mistake in trying to run the ball so early on, in series on first and second down, where in previous weeks you'd gone more pass heavy on first down and second down?
Well, now that we can look back and had the outcome of the game the way it is, we might have changed that up on a specific play, tried some things differently to get us more running room, so to speak. But that's a little second guessing. I don't really, and it is second guessing and legitimate second guessing. But it's not something that I have a problem with going forward, and that's the key here. We just need to make these learn from this game as well, and that's quite a scene down there in the dome, and with all the other challenges, the noise, the crowd, and as a team, we just came up short. But I remember in 1992, the 93 Super Bowl team, I think, we won 9 of our 16 games by a touchdown or less. By a touchdown or less. And that was supposed to be a dominant team. But we didn't have those games in hand until last possession. And get ready, the last possession in the NFL is a big one, and usually if all you need is 3 points, the team with the ball at the end, the way we were, has got the best chance of winning the game. It was disappointing we didn't get that last drive in place and get down there and at least a position to kick a field goal. You're going to have to do that to win, and you do that against a hostile crowd, a place like the Superdome there, then you've got a challenge.
Jerry Jones every week here on 105.3 The Fan. So it's not like you guys said, let's go in here with a more conservative game plan versus the first 3 weeks with less play action and maybe some more running. You guys didn't try to win the game more conservatively.
Yeah, we probably thought, I thought that we could have more success in the secondary against their secondary. They did like I said, they did a good job. But if we had come out, I think the very first play we ran was a throw, pass. And so we make those plays, move those chains. They have to adjust. You've got a different ball game. But I know that as we look going forward, if we look at how we played them, I saw a stat this morning where the last 3 times we played them, it's like 22 points to 23 points with us having the 23. This is good defense that they're playing, and they're going to be a challenge for us no matter if we play them down there or play them at our place.
Well, thank you for addressing it, Jerry. We just had to clear up some of the conspiracy theories that Kellen's masterful, perfect game plans were interfered with, and that's why you guys weren't as effective offensively, because that was a conspiracy theory out there that somehow
the hottest seat, the one that is more likely to have the most criticism, is the offensive coordinator in the NFL. It's the hottest seat in the business, and boy, when that ball's when it doesn't work and you don't get the win, then get ready. They're going to be coming for you as a coordinator. So Kellen knows this. His head coach knows it. I know it, and that still doesn't mean now that you don't come in there and improve on how you got ready to play. That game we played against the Rams last year changed a lot of things for us. that's when we decided that we wanted to do some of the things you're seeing right now. Was that Ram game? So you're supposed to make adjustments when you don't get it done.
Jerry, a follow-up on Kellen, and you've always been an advocate of his youth and, not knowing that he doesn't belong, being an advantage. No one has a book on him. What are some of the bumps in the road with that inexperience that you may expect and that he'll have to overcome? We've talked about the positive of surprise, but what are some of the bumps that you think Jason will have to help him overcome?
Well, I don't, obviously Jason can coach the coaches and should, but it's not just Kellen. It's the position coaches that are in that offense, and they're weighing in heavily as to what's being run, the way a particular play is blocked. John Kitna, his influence there with Dak is really significant. And whether to let that ball go in the early part of a route, we ran a couple of plays there that the best time, if you don't have it early, then you've got to hold it longer and get it later. That if you throw the ball in between, it's usually knocked down. And so just when in a particular route's the best time to throw or more likely to get the completion, that's an art form that's within the route running, within the play call, within the check down or check off. That's a part that goes there. Well, how he's being coached up there makes a lot of difference on where those defenders are, as whether they're over the receiver or in tight. It looked like they had us covered a lot there the other night, to their credit. And that was probably the most surprising thing, is how tight the throws were.
Yeah.
But you can work on that. That's a part of decision making on the quarterback and Kellen as offensive coordinator. You asked the question, how does he look for ways to get better, ways to address that nuance? As an example.
Jerry Jones joined us here at 105 through the Fan. Is there any update on Tyron Smith, high ankle sprain, his status moving forward?
Well, we got the best news we could possibly get. It's unlikely that we'll see him this week, but I don't know that. And but on a longer-term basis, which is beyond this week, we couldn't have asked for better news. So I'm looking forward to having him back out there quick.
Jerry, Jason told us yesterday he'd probably move forward with Cam Fleming at left tackle. With the way Leal is playing, and some, these sites have him as the number one right tackle in football. Did you put any thought into putting Leal on the left side, or just keep him right now where he's playing great?
There's an adage: you've lost two players when you have to when you have a opening or an injury situation. When you move another starting player into that, you've actually changed two players out, the one who got hurt and one you made the move. So it's sounder thinking in the offensive line to go with just substituting the player you're missing. And there's no question that'll be at play here. Leala's doing such a great job over there. And, again, I'm so proud that for us, that we've got that kind of player. But it's the soundest, or it's the most logical move just to bring just to bring a player in there. Now the question is, do we have any options on that player, and that remains to be seen.
Jerry, Robert Quinn looks like one of the steals of the year so far. Has this even surprised you with the way he has played? He is nonstop out there. He's relentless off the edge. What's your assessment of Quinn so far?
Well, I think that he's playing like a hair on fire player, so to speak. He's first of all, he's outstanding character. He's fabulous for the locker room, and but he's got some speed. He's a veteran. One of the things he's always had to work on is running past the quarterback. He's got such speed, and but he's got what we call Gumby, which means you can have some speed and you can bend and bend around a block a little bit. And he does that as well, too. He's just a proven commodity, and it's helping him, not hurting him. It's helping him to have those fresh legs, I believe. And we want to make sure that we take advantage of this depth that we've got in the defensive line. This rotation business is critical, both within the game and then from game to game. So we want to make sure that we let guys like Armstrong, who played outstanding, 92, and we want to be sure and use the position flex of Hyde, along with, of course, number 90 and everybody else that we've got that we can call on. But position flex, Rod Marinelli's done an outstanding job, and Leon Lett, of getting these guys to be able to play, if you will, outside and inside, or be flexible within the nose guy and the three technique. And we've got guys that can do some of both. That's a big deal. This Collins is having a career year in 96, and I think we've got a lot more to look forward to from him.
Yeah, I know you like Robert Quinn's horse celebration in his first game, but the one the other night with those legs looked like you in that Papa John's commercial, the way you were dancing in there.
It's called Gumby.
Jerry, Quinn's play has been so good. It's had a lot of fans on social media, kind of wondering, if Tank is having a letdown, if he's living up to the contract. Is his relative slow start, still injury-related from off-season surgery?
Well, I don't want to address the two in the same conversation because it's not related to anything. And slow start stat, I guess that's fair. These things have a way of, as proverbially said, they come in bunches. But I'm not at all concerned about him. He's the incremental part to our pass rush, and boy, I'm glad we've got him. And the facts are that to have Robert Quinn over on the other side, to have a Cumming Armstrong, to have the other guys we've got there, really makes this a position of strength. And I really do give Rod Marinelli a lot of credit for putting this together.
Jerry, do you have any better idea of when you guys are going to be able to have Michael Gallup back?
Well, I'm not ruling it out Sunday. And so we've got to see how he does out here tomorrow especially, and just take a look at it.
Were you surprised that Tony Pollard only got 2 snaps against the Saints?
Well, we ran so few, relatively speaking. We ran so few offensive plays. So we never had a time that I thought that Zeke needed, from the standpoint of how much he had played, needed a rest. And it's just hard to snap that ball without Zeke out there, especially with what he's capable of doing for us out of the backfield in the passing game as well. He was doing an outstanding job of blocking, Zeke was. He was very noticeable out there in that respect, and they were coming. Hey, like I said, good defense, good defensive front. So not surprised, really, when we run that few plays.
Did you have to check your watch at the end of the first half to see if an NFL play could be run in 2 seconds like the Saints were able to do?
Well, it's home field advantage, whatever you want to call it. I used to hear, McGuire, the great basketball coach, talk about is which end of the second are you on, or at the start of the second or at the end of the second. Makes a big difference.
Jerry Jones joined us here on 105 through the Fan.
Being sarcastic, of course.
Yes.
Naturally. Late last week came out, maybe a 17-game schedule will be in the works. How would that work? Would each team be asked to play a neutral site game every year to keep it 8 home, 8 roads? Can't imagine.
We don't have that down as to how. There are many machinations that you can come up with, but we've got a unique opportunity with some of the emphasis that we're putting on games in the new Hotspur Stadium over to go along with Wembley over in London. You could have some games there. And then I've always been a huge fan of the Cowboys as well as any team playing in Mexico. Big time fan. And so I would love to see us potentially be able to have more time with games there in Mexico.
Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember agreeing with you and Steven that you weren't the biggest proponent of these replay challenges, and we saw another one last night that fans are not happy with. It doesn't seem like these reversals and challenges are going the way maybe we thought they would. What's your assessment of the offensive pass interference challenges so far?
Well, I'm not going to be specific, as you probably would have guessed, but I voted to have replay, and then I voted against having replay in the subsequent year, and then I voted for having it, and then I voted against having it. I mean, permanently. Over the years as replay was evolving. And the reason was that you would make a change on the field on Sunday, and a huge percentage of the plays, when looked at on Monday and when the cold, hard light of day, were reversed. It's not a perfect science to have replays, and it's going to always have its exceptions. And so the old adage, which is worth to have reversed a play called right, or to have not reversed a play called wrong. And I changed my mind on that on 3 different votes.
Wow. All right, last thing. You went viral over the weekend. Jerry Jones on Bourbon Street. How did that all come about, and how much fun did you have out there?
Well, I had, believe it or not, we had a function there. My son had his 50th birthday celebration. And so we were right there, of course, in New Orleans. Hotels usually right there. And I have, like I might have said this the other day, but I got to participate in 2 Sugar Bowls, which is rare, when I was in college. And my initial awareness of what was going on outside of Arkansas, I was not from a small town, but I sure wasn't from Dallas or New York or a town like that. But my coming out as a young man really happened in New Orleans back many, many years ago when I was down there with the team before the game as a red shirt, and as well as getting to play in the Sugar Bowl. Jimmy Johnson and I both played in the same game, same team there in the Sugar Bowl. I have a long background with New Orleans. New Orleans feels like football to me. It's exciting in the fall. It's exciting to have all the fans out congregating like that. And so I really do get in the football mood when I'm in New Orleans, and I can't help it. I like to walk down that Bourbon Street.
And what's that number one meal you have to get in New Orleans?
Oh, there's so many wonderful things to eat down there, and it's just all over the lot. I actually have some people that do some really good cooking for me. I have a home in Destin, Florida, and I've had it for 40 years. And I have a couple of cooks, chefs, whatever you want to call them, that cook for me all the time down there. And they were actually trained with a combination of Gulf Coast and New Orleans, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, trained in that area. And they can come up with some of the greatest seafood concoctions you've ever seen that have that Cajun, have that French connection to it. And I can go to sleep every night dreaming about some of the kinds of food that I've eaten over the years. But very special place to me. Like I said, I spend a lot of time just right on over east there at Destin, and get a lot of New Orleans influence.
Jerry, thank you for the time once again. Always appreciate the honesty, and best of luck against the Packers on Sunday. Going to be a big one.
Thanks, guys.
Jerry Jones on the BuyerSafety.com hotline, brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas.